Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Welcome to episode 3. Are you
Wow.
nervous?
3? That took me a second. Like, oh, we're already up to 3.
I know.
That's pretty cool.
Do you feel nervous going
little
into this
bit,
recording?
a little bit.
I was feeling a little nervous too. I was like,
Okay.
I know this is like technically our second recording session, and I already feel like there's, this person that I don't have like a visual of them, but a person listening.
Yes.
And I'm also talking to them in the room,
Yes.
and that vision is becoming a little more clear.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's like I'm excited, but I'm nervous. It's
Yeah.
a little bit of both.
I always like to tell my students that because I get asked at least once a year, if not multiple times a year, Mr. Maloff, which is always staggering. I'm never used to that.
Weird.
It is very weird. I think I'm one of those few people that should never be called Mr. It just doesn't fit. When do I stop being nervous? And I tell every one of them. I've done over 100 characters, thousands of shows. I've been on the radio for over 20 years. I've never not been nervous. Like, there's never been a time I've turned on a microphone or I've gotten on stage before getting on stage and not been nervous.
Yeah.
I feel that is a good thing. I think
Yeah.
that it shows that you're engaged, you care. There's one thing about being loose, and we all want that. We all want people to be comfortable.
Yeah.
But it's a whole other monster to be to be nervous and to care, to be that
absolutely.
invested. We do this for fun. We're doing this to have a good time and for us to spend some time together and everything. And we're still nervous. I think that says that how much it means to us.
Yeah, you really hit the nail on the head, because I was thinking the same thing, that it's a quality of caring about the thing that you're pouring your time into.
Yeah.
And we absolutely care about this.
Oh, yeah.
And our Muppets. We love our Muppets.
There's not enough serious conversation about Muppets, and that's what we're doing.
We are doing a service here.
Yes, really. It's the one part of the market that hasn't been covered.
Right,
Serious
yeah.
Muppet talk.
Analytics of Muppets.
That actually could take us down a whole rabbit hole, so we'll go ahead and get into the
Right, we should get started.
Yeah.
So I think you picked last time,
yeah, it did,
but
yeah.
it is my turn. Okay, let's... I'm gonna try to pick
Muppet
from
Facts
the
and
bottom.
quotes.
Oh yeah, thank you for saying that. For those of you who aren't watching. Okay, I have picked it out. Here we go. Let's see if we get our first fact.
Yeah.
Because we've only gotten
well,
quotes so far. We did get our first fact.
Yes.
And it's a long one. So I'm glad I get this down. Okay. You might not have batted an eye at the Muppet Show laugh track, but Jim Henson sure noticed. He says, "As I look at some of the early shows, I'm really embarrassed by them. It's always a difficult thing to do well and to create the reality of the audience laughing. I did one special drive without a laugh track, looked at it, and then tried adding a laugh track to it, and it's unfortunate, but it makes the show funnier." Jim Henson did include some nods to the laugh track in episode 104, where Kermit tells a joke that it's all up to the laugh track if the show is funny or not. And again in episode 320, where Kermit ended the show saying, "You've been wonderful, laugh track." I love that last bit.
Oh, that's good.
That's so
good.
But it's a little jarring to watch a show that you're so used to hearing the laugh track, and then when they do some big special where there isn't a laugh track and you're like, oh, when am I supposed to laugh? Or this isn't really funny or something. That's such a weird, human condition that, TV has made and everything. It's weird.
This is two things for me. One, it touches on one of my favorite things about Jim Henson and his breaking of the fourth wall and his...
Oh my gosh,
the
my favorite.
Muppets breaking the fourth wall is one of my favorite things there is. I love that.
They're the masters at breaking the fourth
Really are.
wall.
But one of my oldest pet peeves, I can't stand laugh tracks. I can't stand them.
Really?
There are a few things that boil my blood more than a laugh track. I found out a long time ago as a kid that something like 90-some%, there's not an exact quote, 90% of facts, of laugh tracks are from laughter from the 40s and 50s. And so,
that's
not to
creepy.
be morbid, but yes, most of these people have gone.
They're not laughing anymore.
No, probably not. At least not on this realm, at least not here. And that bugged me a little bit as a kid. But then the idea of, and this probably speaks more to, as my mother would call me, her her rebel without a pause than actual like having anything, a leg to stand on here.
Yeah.
I don't like being told what to do. I've never been good with that.
I could see that.
And there was something about me that didn't like being told when to laugh.
I'm not gonna laugh anymore. This isn't even funny.
Even though I'm trying not to laugh. I don't know what I would do as a kid in those situations. I don't remember, but I know that it's always bugged me. And I've gotten older. Now I've gotten experience with entertainment, and I don't know anybody who has ever done a play or even a movie for that matter, but especially a play, where I know that I've got this punchline coming up, but then I do the show and the audience is laughing over here, and they're not laughing over here like I expected them to. So they're laughing at the things they choose to. That a laugh track wouldn't do that. A laugh track would jump in right at the punchline. And so by telling people when to laugh, they're missing other, it's almost instinctively in us to not laugh at anything until we know.
Yeah.
It's just this very
it's strange.
outdated way of doing comedy of tell joke, punchline, laughter. This kind of idea of that, where I think that comedy is at its best when it's organic, when it's just on the fly, and let the audience decide what they think is funny.
Yeah, I appreciate that perspective of it. It is a really weird concept. Like, I wonder if they were doing some sort of like testing of like, what do they call that? Where there's like a control group and then there's another.
Like a study group or
study
a
group.
test group. Or
I wonder if they did that with like laughing or like, people aren't watching our program. Like, what if we just told them when to laugh? And
I wonder who invented it.
Strange.
Yeah, who invented the laugh track?
Oh my gosh. So if a show has a laugh track, do shows really have, they don't really
not
have
much
laugh tracks
anymore, but
if it does it turn you away from watching it?
90% of the time.
Wow, is there one that like slips through the cracks that you just...
It has to be grandfathered in. And I only can say this because I've noticed it recently. Growing up, was a huge fan of Night Court. It was one of my favorite shows of all time. Loved it. Big influence on me. Love that show. They re-envisioned it.
Yeah, I saw
brought
that.
it back. Melissa Ranch and Ranch. I can't think of how to say her name. I apologize to her. She's awesome. And John LaRoquette came on and they brought Dan Fielding back. So I really wanted to see it. And the first episode, like 2 minutes in, laugh track. Now the old show had a laugh track too.
Yeah.
And immediately it was like, but I gave it a chance, and it wasn't so bad. I just kind of tried to ignore like white noise or something like that, and I guess it wasn't too bad. Maybe I've just, like a lot of us, like toned down as we get older. But I don't know. It didn't bother me as much, maybe because I was used to the old show having it.
Yeah.
I think if it's a new show, not only do I think it would distract me and I wouldn't be able to get into it, I don't know many that would. I don't know if many people, if modern audiences, if your generation, the generations behind you are going to be able to even get into a lot. Like
a lot of like the Disney Channel shows had a laugh track, or like Saved by the Bell, I think had a laugh track and stuff. But like the most modern show I can think of is The Big Bang Theory that had a laugh track.
That's right.
And there's something like I don't know, like you were saying, I get your perspective of like, don't tell me when to laugh and all of that stuff. But there's also something kind of comforting about it. And I don't know what it is chemically inside my brain that it is comforting, but it is. Cue a laugh track.
There's a charm to it, I think.
Yeah.
That's
a good way to put it.
Especially with certain stuff that bring out nostalgia in us.
Yeah.
And if there's the only thing bigger than like Taylor Swift or Beyonce is nostalgia. Like we love nostalgia. We can't get enough of it, whether it's in our own personal lives or in entertainment.
Or in a weird podcast about Muppets.
Yeah, which I don't know if that would be a good idea.
No, that's definitely not.
I don't feel like that should be.
No, that's a waste of time.
That was good. That was a really good fact.
Yeah, I love too how open he was about like the own dynamics of his show and what worked and what kind of irked him too, and that he turned it in a way to make it funny, because that's just what Jim Henson does.
I wouldn't have thought of it before. Do you think that was a big part of the pull of why we fell in love with the Muppets so quickly as a society? Is his transparency, his ability, or his openness?
I thought you were gonna say something else, and I was like, "Don't do this to me." I thought you were gonna say, "What if we only loved the Muppets because there was a laugh track?" I was like, "Don't do that."
I'm like, dun dun dun.
Right. No, I completely agree though. He was so just human. Like everything about him was human, and there was a magic in that, and like you said, his transparency, and he never, at least from what I've seen, he's never tried to be something other than a creative, a human, and wanting to connect with other people in the most genuine way.
Ego gets a bad rap for a lot of good reasons. It can be detrimental, it can be, hurt your career, it can hurt the creative arts and all these things, but nobody gets anywhere without a little bit of ego. I'm sure he had some, but he always came across, every interview I've ever seen with him, even pictures of him just smiling, like, that guy has no ego. That guy, it's not about him. It really comes across that way, like it was never about him, it was about the art, it was about the kids. I think that part too pulled me in, pulled a lot of people in.
Yeah, I feel like there's only so many people in this world that get the amazing opportunity to create something that's so much bigger than them. Yeah. And Jim really did, we keep saying Jim. Jim Henson really did that.
He's a friend of the show.
So yeah, we hope you would support the show.
Absolutely.
But yeah, like how many people get to do that where they create something that takes a whole other life of its own and creates this safe place for so many people for generations to come to.
On our my day job, of course, working at the radio station and talking about talking with nonprofits like the United Way and groups like that, and we're always trying to look for ways to encourage people to volunteer. And one of the go-tos for me has always been, not everybody gets to cure polio, but every one of us can make an impact in our neighborhood, in our yard. There's very few of us that get to do something that impacts literally the whole world.
Yeah.
But if we all take care of our own zip code or our own neck of the woods, that adds up, that connects, and little by little, before we know it, we've changed the world.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that you're so dead on with that. It's the same thing with entertainment. Very few people get to be a part of something that's as big as the Muppets.
Yeah.
But every one of us can do something like this. Like I think that the way that podcasting is going, the fact that there is literally like 1 billion podcasts, and as I was saying this, there's 2 billion. Like I like that. I think that's great. Yeah. I want even more. I want 5 billion by the time I'm done with this sentence. To me, it's so cool to see that society decides where entertainment's going to go.
Yeah.
As much as corporations and production companies and all these people put billions and billions of dollars into this stuff and trying to tell us what to like and what to do and all that, we still come back to deciding. Yeah. And people still end up deciding what is the next medium. Well, where are we going after TV? Where are we going after the internet? We decided podcasts. Well, we're gonna have a podcast for everything. Do you like Tic Tacs? Podcast about Tic Tacs. Like there's something for everybody. Literally. I think that's so cool.
It is. It's amazing, and I don't think I would have guessed it either.
No.
Yeah, that's awesome.
We could have made a lot of money if you could have, though. We really could have.
Darn it! I dropped the ball. Maybe the next one.
Next one. Yeah. We'll get on the next trip.
Well, with that said, you get the amazing job of picking our Muppet for this episode out of our
it's a big honor.
Muppet hat. Oh, Muppet or Muppet movie.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So let me see. I'll get one from the bottom here.
It's always a theory of chaos moment.
Yes.
I'll probably say that like way too many times during this series.
Agreed. And I love that line. You use it every show, every episode.
I love Community.
That's so good. Oh, Lips.
Oh, okay. I just was watching clips like the other night about him.
Lips, the horn player.
Yes, the trumpet player.
Yeah, the trumpet player, right? The trumpet player with the Magical Mayhem or the Mayhem Band.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of the exact Electric Mayhem. I knew there was a word before it. Electric Mayhem. How dare this point? I got a negative point on me. I lost points on that.
No. Jim would say, "Hey, take it easy."
Yeah, he would.
Don't be so hard on yourself.
You would.
All the Muppets have weird names.
Lips, one of the quiet members of the band.
Yeah.
Didn't hear a lot from Lips over the years, but I did. I like that.
I think he was like ushered in, correct me if I'm wrong, but like kind of part way through like the Muppet Show. And he is like he had more speaking lines, and like I didn't watch much of the Muppets like TV show that was brought in like 2000, was that like 2015? 2014? Yeah, I didn't watch much of it, but I know he got more speaking roles in there, and I haven't watched the reboot of the Electric Mayhem show right now.
Yeah, I haven't either,
But I would imagine that he has more in there as well.
Team building exercise. We have to binge watch that show.
It's homework at this point.
Yes, it really is. We have to do it.
Yeah.
With a lot of the characters, I think they had this thing that they were able to do where slowly kind of build up these characters and then introduce them and give them more talking points. I think Lips is one of those perfect characters like that. I can't think of the saxophone player. Zoot, yeah. Zoot, I always wanted more lines for him. I always liked him. And I think that was part of his character, though, was not having a lot of lines.
Yeah, he's just kind of like the melancholy, quiet guy. Like, if he said something, you're like, oh, he spoke.
Yeah.
And it was witty.
Yes.
Yeah.
Certain characters, were more in the spotlight so that the other characters could shine when they had those moments.
Yes.
I think Lips was one of those characters.
Absolutely. Well, how would you describe Lips? Like, physically and then personality-wise?
So, physically, looking like the way that George Clinton or James Brown band must look at the end of every show, just exhausted.
Yeah, his eyes are like always closed.
Yeah, always closed. So I constantly in need of a nap. Lips.
He's a tired fellow.
Kind of a bit of a slower delivery too.
Yeah.
And I think, and I don't know this for certain, but I always thought that Lips had a little bit of Miles Davis influence.
Ooh.
With a little bit of the tone of the voice and his delivery.
Absolutely.
I encourage every human being on the planet to listen to at least one Miles Davis interview.
Here's Mr. Jazz comes again.
Yes. But, if for any other reason than to hear Miles' voice, the only thing that can compete with Miles' sound that he would make through a trumpet is that voice. Yeah. That is a legendary voice, just an amazing voice. I thought Lips was a little bit of influence there, but maybe even more in Bird and Charlie Parker.
Okay, I think the Miles Davis correlation, I didn't even think of that, but I think you're spot on. I think Lips has like some of the best hair in the band.
I want to get to the hair.
Yeah, I love that whenever he moves, it just kind of bounces around with him, and it just looks so magical.
I don't know if you've done this either, because as a kid I didn't do too much of it, but I know as I got older and my kids or my nephews or anybody would watch these shows and I'd look at them, some of these puppets looked like they were so much fun to make. And Lips looks like one of those ones. Like, not just the once he's created and putting them together, but I mean in the creative process of like, well, what kind of hair should we give him? And deciding that and figuring that out.
Absolutely.
It feels like any Muppet creatively is an original piece. They're all so unique.
Yeah.
But these later ones, like when there's already this kind of like standard that's been set and all these other ideas have been taken, to not repeat yourself. That's so interesting to me, to see so many different uniqueness in all these characters.
Yeah, as you were saying that, I was thinking like there had to be a point where somebody was like, there should be another member of Electric Mayhem. And there's already, each member of that band is so unique. Yeah. And they have their thing and their spot. So being the creative team behind the Lips, before he was created, that's a kind of some pressure, because they have to fit into the band. And like, I think they did a great job.
Oh yeah.
He fits right in.
Lips is a great
He's
character.
family.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, so that's a good one.
How would you describe him, like if you had to describe him in a few words, what words would you use?
Quiet and composed.
Yeah, composed is a pun, and it works.
I did not mean to do that. I did not.
Accidental pun.
Listeners, you should know that I don't ever intend to do puns. They just happen.
It's not his fault.
And I will say, as a dad, I can get away with dad jokes.
I'm actually a big fan of puns. So bring it on.
I think that stands out for him too, because we're talking about Muppets here, and usually you're not going to use the word composed with a Muppet very often.
Yeah.
How would you?
I agree. I also think he's quiet, and I think that he has like a deeper persona.
Yeah.
Like you could sit down with Lips and be like, Lips, I gotta talk. Like, I'm going through some stuff right now.
Yeah.
And he would feed you back with some straightforward wisdom. Whereas Floyd would probably tell you like, you gotta pull yourself together, man. And he tough love. And Janice, like, bless her heart, but you probably aren't gonna get a straight answer.
Yeah, you just gotta roll with you, man. You just
And Dr. Teeth, I feel like He was gonna get distracted.
Yeah, Dr. Teeth would have all the. Well, we're gonna figure out this problem together.
Yeah,
What's
let's
that
just
over
go
there?
on the road, yeah.
He's gone. He's gone.
Exactly. And Animal, we love him, but maybe if like you are going through a breakup and you need to break some stuff, then you go to
Yes, yes. Animal, not the greatest therapist. Not.
Might make you indulge in some violent actions.
Yeah, maybe not the best.
By accident. And Zoot, I think he is more sleepy than Lips.
Yeah,
And I think he would fall asleep, not trying to. I think he's sensitive, but I feel like he would accidentally fall asleep.
I think Lips Zoot may have the best advice for you, but you would never get it. You would never get to it. It would never come up. You'd fall asleep before it. Exactly. Lips, I feel like, would quote Socrates or something.
Ooh,
he'd give you a quote. He would shock you a little bit. Yeah, that's good.
Man, now I just want to like have coffee with
I kind of
Lips.
want to hang out with Lips a little bit, right? We apologize, Lips. Didn't give you enough due. That's what the greatness of this show is.
Exactly,
being able to
it
put a little
shines the
focus.
light on them. Yeah. Well, with that, let's figure out what scenario Lips is going to be in for this Muppet.
I like this.
Me too. Okay, is it just one? Yes. Okay, so the scenario is, what do you think this Muppet's favorite subject in school was this Muppet a good student?
Ooh.
For Lips.
I like that.
Yeah, okay.
So I feel like music is an easy one.
Yeah.
But I do think that Lips was one of those kids that just had the kind of like focus on that one subject. They really cared about, and kind of everything else it was like getting C's and D's in, but that one they like A+ in this. I think actually I don't want to give the low hanging fruit, so actually I'm going to say history.
I was thinking art history.
Okay,
yeah. I don't think that was like a subject in school.
Maybe not, but it works.
It's more of like a college major.
Yeah, it works.
But yeah, I feel like I could see him being quiet, like absorbing the history, and then if some like, whitewashed stuff comes out, because we know that happens in public school.
Oh yeah.
I feel like Lips would be like, nah man.
Yeah, yes.
That didn't happen, and that's when he speaks out, and he stands up for the actual history.
So in that regard, I was Lips in school.
Okay, wow.
I was the kid that, again, the rebel without a pause, that I am my mother's son in many ways. And quick story, I'm in math class in 7th or 8th grade. And it's the first class, and Mr. Fehrenbach, wonderful teacher, great guy. Couldn't have been nicer to me, and put up with a lot. And example A. First day of class, he goes out there and he says, Juan mows so many lawns, gets paid this much amount of money. How much money did Juan make? My hand shoots up immediately. Immediately. Why does his name got to be Juan? Why does his name have to be Juan? That doesn't make any sense. Why can't it be Carl or Joe or And poor Mr. Fehrenbach is just a math teacher.
Trying to teach math.
He's like, I didn't write this. I'm reading this. He's literally showing me the book. I'm like, I didn't write this. It was so.
Well, kudos to you though for like standing up and saying something.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Also learned in that moment, choose your battles. Yeah, you choose your battles. You're choosing your battles wisely. It's not maybe fair to ask a philosophical question of a math teacher.
Right.
It's just not fair to that guy.
He just looks into the camera. He's like, I don't get paid enough.
Yeah. Teachers don't get paid, period, enough. Let alone to be dealing with knuckleheads like me and stuff, throwing those things at them. So yes, I was very much like Lips in school.
Okay, wow. I like the turn that we're like taking on Lips and like dissecting him as a character.
I hope so.
Because he, like we were saying, he's one of those, not so shined on characters. And I like taking this deeper look at him because I think he has a lot to offer.
How do you think he would have been in school?
So I stand by what I said with if something was like politically incorrect or just emotionally whatever, I do think he would take a stand and he would say something and he would take his detention slip and go kind of wreck this club.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think he's a good student in the regard that he doesn't disrupt in class and he'll turn in his homework if he feels like it, but I don't think he does work in class. I think he he does his own thing. Like he'll doodle, he'll nap, he'll something.
That's good.
I don't think that he's like I'm gonna go above and beyond. Like Kermit would probably be like a goody two shoes.
I think Kermit was the reason extra credit was invented. They had to do something. Yeah.
That's good.
I like that.
Yeah, okay, well, Lips is the history okay student, unless it comes to music.
Yeah, and I really I agree with you about the art history. I think that was a good.
Woo-hoo.
So now we've got our final one.
Yeah, the would you?
Yes.
Would
So
you have?
here's the would ya. Here we go. Would you rather let this Muppet choose your entire wardrobe for the rest of your life, or would you rather let this Muppet cook all your meals for the rest of your life?
Wow, two extremes. I don't mind his wardrobe, so I think I'd let him pick my clothes. I think he would be considerate of my style. Well, if you're watching right now, I feel like you would maybe pick this out.
Absolutely. Which your rocks, by the way. I love it.
Thank you very much.
I also feel bad that you inherited some of my style. I know. I have no style whatsoever. I have a way that I like, that fits me and that I think looks all right on me, but I don't pretend that it would look good on anybody else, including
Well,
a
that's your
mannequin.
style.
Yeah. I think that Lips may actually help me with my wardrobe.
Okay,
So I'm going to lean
yeah.
into the wardrobe with
Me
you. I'm
too.
with you on this
Yeah.
one. I actually think that he would pick out things that I may even like, oh, I'm glad I would never
Right,
thought
wow,
about
yeah.
wearing that.
Thanks,
I'm wearing a kilt now. Wearing this.
Right, he's just messing with us.
Yeah,
He's,
which would probably be the case.
whispering to Zoot, check those out. They think it looks cool.
Boy, that would be a great episode. That would be a really funny episode
Yeah.
of the Muppets. I like that.
Where they take over America's Next Top Model, or something like that.
There's another re-envision of that show that we
Yes.
could do. I would watch that.
Absolutely.
I would watch Muppets. I would actually be a contestant on that show. I would let Muppets pick out my wardrobe for me.
Just tear me apart, give me a makeover.
Give me something new.
I'm ready to be reborn.
Anything can be an improvement, I would think, from the way I dress. Probably.
I don't think you give yourself enough credit. I think that you wear some pretty cool t-shirts.
Do you think that we both quickly went away from the food idea of this? We didn't even give
I was
that a
gonna
thought.
say, I think that he can be responsible, but I don't think I can count on him to. I already forget sometimes to eat during the day because I just get really busy,
Yeah.
and I'm like, why do I feel so faint by dinner time? Oh yeah, I forgot to feed myself.
There's another check mark
Yeah.
from your father. Sorry about that.
That's okay. So my fiance is a rock star, and he, we cook dinner together. It's mostly him, but I don't think that I should put that responsibility on Lips too.
Yeah, it's not fair to Lips. For either of us, because we are the same when it comes to this.
Yeah.
But it is interesting how, I wonder if I had to choose between the two of them. I think I might actually let Lips choose my meals before the Swedish chef. I might actually, I can't understand.
Right, yeah.
I don't know what's on the menu. And what is that? Is that pork chops? What is he talking about?
Yeah.
Lips, I'd be able to understand.
Yes.
I'd be able to at least understand what
That's a
I'm ordering.
great point. Yeah. Wow.
Did we burn through an episode already?
Yeah.
I think we did. Oh, that was
Wow,
pretty cool.
Lips was, he was really interesting to dissect, but it was also really easy to navigate with the other two Muppets we've had. They were so eccentric and crazy. We're okay, let's think about this. But with Lips, he's just cool, calm, collected.
Well, and I hope people out there, because I think another fun part of this show can be interacting with it.
Yeah.
And as you're hearing us talk about these things, whether you're hopefully laughing along, but also even throwing in your own 2 cents, talking to your radio, talking to your, how you're listening to us and everything. I think that part of this is fun too.
Yeah, and we highly encourage you to go on YouTube and look up Electric Mayhem funny clips something, so you can get a look at Lips too, because it's been so weird to just call him Lips, because it's just such a weird word to say.
It is a weird one.
Yeah.
It is a weird name.
It is, and it makes sense for him. I wonder, that has to be a nickname.
Mm-hmm.
So not to get too deep into the lore of the Muppets, but he has to have a real, not real, but
I think so.
a name, but Lips, since he plays the trumpet.
I was going to say Lips was a common name for a jazz artist's nickname.
Yeah.
And I think maybe there was a little tip of the hat to that too.
Yeah, absolutely. What do you think is Lips' first name? He's don't say that name. I haven't heard that name in years.
Thomas.
Oh, okay.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
But Tom, I feel like I know a lot of Toms that hate being called Thomas. And I feel like that might be where he'd go with
Okay,
it.
yeah.
No, don't want that one.
Nope,
No.
I'm Lips.
Yeah, that's it.
Just call me Lips.
Or actually, no. You know, now that I'm thinking, it, not usually because you said Lips. We usually go to a nickname when we really dislike. We have one of those really awkward first names, like Birmingham, or some weird first. No. I'm gonna go by.
Like
I'm gonna go
super
by Lips.
Victorian
Yeah, something very
Yeah.
older or something sounding. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that.
Lips Birmingham last name. It has been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you, Lips. Thank you for being our featured Muppet.
Yes, and thank you all for listening or watching. We super appreciate it, more than we can express. It's so fun to just talk about the Muppets and to know that you're listening on or watching on the other side. It just fills us with this light spirit.
Makes our hearts sing.
Yeah, makes it glow. So if you want to check us out on Instagram or YouTube, if you haven't been watching, check us out at What the Muppet Pod. We'd love to hear from you. See what you think of the show, and just thank you for supporting us and watching.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, so episode 3.
Done.
All done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Lips.
Thank you, Lips.
We'll catch you guys later.